mic and talk directly to.
Hey guys, this is Frankie. We're out at Kenwood Avenue where the shooting occurred last night, the fatal shooting, and we're going to go live with the PIO, Katie, and Caitlin out of the Sarasota Sheriff's Office. So that's going to start up in just a second.
If we mic up in advance. Hey guys, can you hear me?
I'm good, how are you? I didn't sleep, so wire her like everybody else.
You can. Hey, we're micing right now. If you'd like, and that's your preference,
it's going to be an auto
straight
on channel 2 only.
From the angle.
Yes?
Okay. Ow! Yeah! You pulled it out, Russ.
Oh, I want to shoot the mirror.
Straight to cable.
We're doing another mic check. Check 1, 2.
Caitlin Perez. PIO. He's lucky I like it. There you go.
We're going to throw one on YouTube.
Okay.
Unless everybody wants to get their shot.
What do I look like? Do I look I feel like they're all over me.
No, you look great.
It's like bugs.
You look very
They don't
mic'd.
bite.
Very Mike, extra Mikey today.
Extra Mikey. Like you have great audio quality.
Yes.
You give it a test.
Test 1, 2. Test 1, 2, 3, 4. I would like some coffee.
I was impressed by how good your hair looked this morning at 2 a.m.
Oh,
I was like, wow.
I looked at that and I was like, wow.
I had a feeling last night too. As soon as I went to bed, I was like,
Okay.
something is a little test today.
Yeah, you knew.
The biggest thing yesterday, the biggest thing kind of got me in a funk, you know?
Right, yeah.
I'm sure all you guys too. And then I'm like, something's weird.
Hey, Joe, is her mic okay?
I know, I had a feeling.
Give it a listen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
If they skip him, he'll turn his mic off.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay.
All right, buddy. Yeah, bye. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Joe said he thought they were going straight to her, so
Are you sure it's
Stand by.
this?
can you kill your mic then?
Yep.
Alright. We kill it then. I stand here.
Okay.
So everyone knows.
All right, Caitlin Perez, Sarasota County Sheriff's Office. Can you just start us off walking us through a little bit about what your department has learned about what happened out here today?
Sure. The first briefing we gave last night was around 2 o'clock in the morning, and that was just basic information. Our deputies first responded to this home behind me, 410 Kenwood Avenue at 11:13 p.m. From there, the investigation moved very rapidly. What we knew last night was that there was a shooting, and that was kind of the basics of what we knew. This morning, things have evolved quite a bit. Detectives are now considering this a double murder and suicide. So to be clear, there's actually 5 individuals involved in this incident, 3 of whom are deceased. Okay, and of course, as always, the official cause of death comes from the medical examiner's office, but it appears, based on preliminary investigation, that all 3 individuals who are deceased died as a result of gunshot wounds. 2 of those individuals are victims, again, and then we have the suspect, or the individual we believe is the suspect, who's died from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. We also have another individual, a victim, who was transported last night via Bayflight for some traumatic injuries. She is currently in critical condition. She is a female at a local hospital. And then we also have another individual, another victim, who was treated for minor injuries. He's since been released and he is okay. Things are quite fluid. The most important thing for us right now is to notify next of kin, and there's a couple steps involved there. So from a law enforcement perspective, we're not ready to release the identity of those involved, but again, we can tell you there are 3 people who are deceased, unfortunately, today. Truly a tragic situation anytime there's any sort of loss of life. And again, another important thing to mention is everything is contained. Everyone that we were looking for is contained. So with that, I'll take any questions you might have.
For those people who were brought to the hospital, one with some trauma, the other with a minor injury,
Minor injuries, no. That was not a gunshot wound. There's actually a second element to this, an aggravated battery that's also being investigated. I don't have a lot of information on it right now. And as far as the individual who was transported, yes, she suffered a gunshot wound. And so again, she's in critical condition right now. We're just waiting to hear about her status, and hopefully she's going to be okay.
Can you walk us through what detectives believe led up to this? I mean, we're seeing some evidence markers even across the street out front.
Sure.
What do they think transpired before this happened?
Well, and that's a good question, and I appreciate you bringing that to our attention. There's a lot of moving pieces here, and there's essentially a couple different crime scenes that we're working with. Of course, we've got the residential area, but then we also have an area right across the street where there was a minor dispute as well. That's where the aggravated battery took place. Again, I don't have a lot of information on that. I don't want to go into detail. What we do know, though, is everyone who's involved is known to one another. So this wasn't a random act. These individuals knew one another. Again, unfortunately, those two victims that are deceased do know the individual who is identified as a suspect at this time.
Were they neighbors? Did they live together?
I can't speak to that just yet.
Haley, can you tell us how many of the three lived in this residence?
You know, if I were to do that, it might identify them. So at this time, I want to kind of keep that close. As soon as we notify that next of kin, I can give you a little more information.
Initially, calls went out about the suspect possibly fleeing the scene in a green car, and I've noticed you taking photographs of that green car over in that driveway. Can you tell us a little more about?
Yeah, a couple different calls came in. So we did receive 911 calls for reports of a shooting, and then also, again, that other element, which is an aggravated battery. That vehicle is involved. Again, we're just working through preliminary stuff right now, so I want to be delicate with what I provide. As soon as I get more details, I'll share it with you.
Did at some point the shooter actually flee the scene, or was that just a miscommunication?
Still under investigation, but it's important that I mention, you know, with that scanner traffic and what you hear on the radio, sometimes things are happening so quickly, things evolve. So not everything that you hear on the radio is exactly what ends up happening on the scene.
You have
I know
two.
you don't want to obviously revisit the investigation, release any of the names. You've got to notify
Sure.
the next of kin. Can you release at least the ages of the victims?
I'm not comfortable with ages yet either. What I can tell you is the suspect is a male, okay, who we believe to be a suspect, and then the two victims, one is a male and one is a female.
Are they adults?
Again, I want to be delicate with ages right now.
Any connection to the gunshots that were fired about, 5 days ago out here in Nokomis at the park?
To be honest with you, I'm not familiar. I'm not sure if there's a connection there, but I can look into it.
Can you talk to us about what detectives have available to them? Obviously, you have two victims who are able to talk with investigators right now about what happened. We're also seeing a sign on the house that says surveillance. I don't know if there's video of what happened.
I'm not sure if there's surveillance video. I do know, and after being out here early this morning too, residents have been very helpful in coming forward and providing, you know, information to our detectives. So at this point, again, we feel like things are pretty contained, but certainly if there's someone out there that has information they think is relevant, they're welcome to come forward.
Neighbors telling us that police have responded here numerous times in the past.
I can't speak to that. I'd have to, you know, to see what the involvement has been in this area, but it's a relatively safe area. As you can see, there's a lot of residents here that are very concerned, and our priority is just to contain things here and make sure everyone's okay.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thanks.
Appreciate the update.
Okay, guys, in case you couldn't talk or hear her too well, basically there was 2 dead. The guy, individual suspect, shot them. It sounds like a guy and a girl. The suspect then killed himself, so suicide. Across the street, if you'll see, they're walking back and forth between houses. That's because there was a battery issue at the house across the street, which they're play some role in this, and they don't think there's any connection to the gunshots that were, or they don't know if there's any connection to the gunshots that were fired the other day. I think somebody asked that. I'm not sure where in Nokomis that was. I think it was right around the corner here, and I think that's it. No updates. They couldn't release the names or the ages or anything because they didn't want to give up the identity of the individuals. So I'll do a quick scan around here, and then we'll cut off the live feed.